welcome everyone to this last day of South Summit. Thank you for joining us on this day full of innovation and entrepreneurship. My name is Cristina Roca, and I will be moderating this panel that is entitled Towards a Deep Tech Economy, a joint vision from VCs. So from 9:30 till 10 a.m., we will be exploring the fascinating world of deep tech, and our objective will be threefold. First, we will analyze the current state of the deep tech ecosystem, both in Spain and in Europe. Secondly, we will explore the fundamental role that venture capital funds play in this ecosystem. And third, we will explore as well successful stories and investments in deep tech and the lessons we have learned from them. So let's start this conversation by getting a big picture of how the deep tech ecosystem works. So first of all, Alberto, what is your vision? How would you describe the current landscape of deep tech companies in Europe and especially in Spain? And what are the main challenges and opportunities you see in this ecosystem?
Right, thank you very much. I am very positive about the opportunities and the growth potential for deep tech. Deep tech is a sector that requires patience because the development of products and go-to-markets take time. And this is a sector that maybe suffered a bit more in the late, sort of in the 2015 to 2020, because it was all about growth, growth, growth. Now that sort of financial, let's say, efficiency is more important, and also that AI is making the development of software cheaper and easier. Software is no longer just such a barrier of entry. So deep tech companies indeed can create some competitive advantages and defenses around their businesses that I think investors like, that are harder to copy, replicate, and what I think it's doing very well in Europe, and that there are more and more investors that are focusing on deep tech. I think in Spain, I think the part that we need to promote a lot more is the collaboration with universities, making sure that universities have the means or the initiative to take ideas and technologies from the lab to the market, so that academic research and lab research doesn't stay, but that it is linked with people that have an entrepreneurial sort of drive or mentality and that want to take those ideas, that research, to market. And I think it's a very good time, and frankly, I think Europe is very, very competitive with the United States and with China in basic research. We just need to promote now how those turn into more startups, more companies.
So Borja, do you agree with Alberto's point of view?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Alberto has summarized. I'm going to try to complement, just not to say exactly what he was saying, but I fully agree with the vast majority of the things that he has said. I think that it's been a terrific year for Europe in general, in terms of investment for deep tech, and I think the amount is about billions of money going into those kind of companies, and we are very positive and excited about the trend. I think Spain is following their own path as well. I think we have an amazing talent and great universities, and that's something, certainly a few other things that differentiate from what you can actually might find on other regions as well. But complementing Alberto, I would add two things. One, funding is very needed in this vertical. Science, potentially, the closer that you be to the science, the far away you are from distribution, meaning that it will take more time for you to go up to the market. And he mentioned that AI is going to close a gap, but and I think we should be talking about this as part of this panel, and that's true, but still, I mean, there is patience to be put on it, and there is money that has to be put on those companies, so they take the time to ramp and to get a good distribution, to get to the market and get product market fit. I think that's one thing. And the other thing that I think it should be added to the puzzle is corporations as well. Corporations is very needed, not only, potentially on ways to adapt to technology and become the client of all those deep tech companies, which sometimes for the corporations is about hacking the system. So it's not a easy play for whoever is championing that startup within the organization, and that's something that hopefully will get better. And also from an M&A perspective, so more opportunities from our corporations here should actually help as well.
And Carlos, what is your view from the institutional point of view, no?
Yeah, so I pretty much agree with your view. I think when we analyze the state of the deep tech ecosystem in Europe, and particularly in Spain, there are different factors that has to be taken into account. First of them is talent. I think it's clear that here in Europe, and particularly in Spain, we have great professionals, great technologists, technicians, with great ability to develop deep tech projects. It's true that probably what we are missing a little bit is the go-to-market capacity, right? So the ability to place the product or the service they develop into the market for the first time. And I think that in this particular aspect, VCs, especially the ones that invest in early stages, can have an important role by try to avoid these startups making mistakes at those very first stages, right, beyond the investment they make. This is something which is recognized. I mean, we've been talking with our fund, our Next Tech Fund, with different international VCs, and they all recognize that Spain has the talent, but probably we are missing that point. Also, with regard to talent, it's true that probably during the next year we will be facing a challenge. And it's of course, now it's easier than ever to live in a country and to work for a company in another country, so the competitiveness for talent will be very high. And of course, from the public perspective, measures to attract and retain talent will be very important in the future. And this is with regard to talent, and also with respect to finance. I agree that I think the situation in Europe is much better than it was years ago. I mean, we've been closing the gap with particularly the United States. And yeah, I think that also from the public perspective, we've been developing a lot of programs, a lot of initiatives to cover all the spectrum from early stages to late stages, with different instruments, from grants, participatory loans, equity. So I think the state is good, and hopefully it's better next year.
Okay, so I think we can all agree that there is an opportunity, especially in Spain. We have the talent, thanks to universities, also the importance of AI, and the impact that it has. But one of the main challenges is also the lack of financing, for example, and this is where venture capitals have a fundamental role, in financing this deep tech ecosystem that, as Alberto has said, you need to have a lot of patience because it's a sector that takes time to mature. So now that we have this big picture of the landscape of the deep tech ecosystem, let's bring the role of venture capital funds now into the equation. So, for example, Alberto, how would you say that how Adara Ventures, your fund, improves this ecosystem, or how it helps the deep tech companies to thrive or to overcome the challenges that we have exposed?
Right. So we obviously the first thing is financing, right? So that's obvious. There's no venture without capital, right? But so in addition to just providing the funding that they need to grow, I think what we try to do is to help founders to we don't get too much into the design of the product. We like to back people that know their sectors better than we do. I think the idea of a venture capitalist is primarily to back very smart people and very, capable and ambitious people. So what we try to do is be supportive, to help them, for example, in developing their organization. For example, establishing all the way from a governance structure at the board and the proper sort of advisory input that they can have at the board level, bringing other investors to invest in these companies internationally, people that we've worked with in the past and that we can, bring to their attention the opportunity to invest in a company that we've backed at an early stage, assist in some of the, with some connections in go-to-market partnerships, et cetera, guidance and support. But, I think many times the best thing that one can do is provide, some measure of support, financial discipline, long-term view, and at the same time, let them do their thing. And not get into the day-to-day management of these companies, which, the moment you start sort of second-guessing operating decisions, I think that's a mistake, frankly, as a VC.
Yeah, you need to go hand by hand, through the financing, but also let them do their thing because they're experts in this field, that it's really a really technical field, in
Absolutely.
quantum computing, in cybersecurity.
Absolutely.
So what is your view, Borja, with how does K-Fund also help these companies?
Just to give a bit of context, K-Fund does tickets from 100K up to 10 million, so meaning that we can actually help companies to go moving towards the different stages. And one of the fundamentals that we're trying to do is the team has like two types of profiles, I would say. So we have the investors, people that have been in this for over 10 years, so financial background in a way. And then we tend to have like a strong operator mentality. And so many of us have been actually founding startups, or working on startups that have actually scale. And one of the things that we tend to do is try to be the investors that we didn't have when we scale those businesses, the ones that that when actually remove the logo of of their company, things go wrong in a way. So the ones that they're gonna stick in the corner with you, hand to hand, trying to help. Because, by the way, this is way more fun than just giving the funds. So that's kind of the mentality that we're trying to bring, and that's why many of us are actually coming more with an operator profile. And translating that, moving that to Deeptech, and also because I have I'm a little bit biased because I have a sales background. So one of the big challenges, of course, is to go from, from early days to sales in terms of, and start capturing those sales. It's very educational in a way. So it tends to be like a very long sales process. And normally, some of those companies are also targeting enterprises. So we really try to be close to them about how to do that pitch, because some of those profiles, they're very techy in a way, and it's hard to have the technical and the growth mentality both ways. And I think Alberto made a good point. Certainly, we won't be able to help them from a technical perspective because they know the product well, and they know they're actually selling well, and so on. But certainly, we try to be close to them on those sales initially, and also to make that potentially scalable and predictable in a way. And that's something very critical for those kind of companies we try to be very close to.
Yeah, that's very important, as you have said, because many of these deep tech companies usually come from spin-offs of universities that they are very qualified profiles and really techy, but they need the market vision, no? So,
right.
So it is very important. Carlos?
Yeah, so to put this into context, the Next Tech Fund is a venture capital fund that was born back in 2021. And it's an initiative launched by the Executive of State of Digitalization and Artificial Intelligence together with ICO, which is the Spanish public bank, and Axis, its venture capital manager. It made its first investment in 2022. With time, it has increased its size from 500 million at the beginning to 4 billion now with these next generation EU funds. So we invest both directly in companies, but also in other funds. When we invest in companies, we look for Spanish companies or companies that have the main activity in Spain. Tickets range from 5 to 20 million euros, though can be flexible. And we always invest in a co-investment basis. So yeah, there has to be a private operator, and we apply the same conditions as them. This with regards to direct investment, but also we operate as a fund of funds. When we operate as such, we require the invested fund to invest twice the money we put in that fund into Spanish companies. It's a little bit flexible because it's 1x in direct investment and another x. It can be from attracting international investment in rounds led by the invested fund. And our main characteristic is that we are focusing mainly on deep tech, right? So we want disruptive technology, we want innovative projects, and that's our target, our goal. So at the end, of course, we are putting 4 billion euros into Spanish deep tech economy from 2022 to 2026, which is the limit we have. But also with this Next Tech Fund, what we want is to, first of all, to increase the size of private funds. So at the end, back in 2022, when we analyzed the state of the deep tech ecosystem, we saw that the investment was mainly concentrated in the early stages phases. So yeah, it was very difficult for deep tech startups to find national or European financing when they were growing up. So that's our first goal, to make funds a little bit bigger to be able to finance this kind of scale-up companies. And also, our second objective is to attract foreign investments, right? So probably there are some venture capital that have not had a really big track record in Spanish companies. But thanks to the Next Tech investment, they start knowing the Spanish ecosystem, and hopefully in the future, this is something that can go straight forward. So this is the way we try to boost the Spanish ecosystem in deep tech.
So we know that venture capital obviously plays a fundamental role in this ecosystem, and especially it is also important to take into account the private and public collaboration, no? So we can all understand now the real impact that your financing and that deep tech has in our lives. Could you also highlight a successful investment in deep tech made by your fund and the impact that it has, or the lessons that you have learned from it?
Yes, thank you. So we've been, yes, indeed, fortunate to have been involved with a few success stories. A couple of cybersecurity companies, Spanish, that have been sold to AT&T and to Datadog very successfully. But I would highlight a company that we exited maybe 10 years ago. It's a company we backed and that we started by two professors from the electronics department at the University of Zaragoza. And these guys were doing chips, analog to digital and digital to analog converters in chips that would enable communications in power lines and electricity cables of digital signals. And this basically enables electricity meters to communicate with, an IT infrastructure. And these are the the smart meters that are now being used, for example, for home efficiency uses and for sort of regulating the sort of the consumption of electricity in homes at the most efficient times, etc. These, this company was acquired by Microchip, a U.S. Sort of global semiconductor company. It's a company that when we started, there were 5 engineers. When the company was acquired, maybe there were 30, 35. It's still functioning right there out of Zaragoza, and it's become the global hub for Microchip for smart metering. It's more than 90 engineers. The pilot customer for the company was Iberdrola, so the development of smart meters was beginning to happen in Spain. The prime standard was developed in partnership between this company, ADD Semiconductor, and Iberdrola, and other global players. So it's not a very visible company. It wasn't a huge exit. It wasn't multi-hundred million, but it was a very good return for our fund and a very good outcome for the founders and for the team there locally.
Of course. Thank you. And Borja from K-Fund.
I was just talking with Alberto before the talk, and I said I'm gonna perhaps mention a company that we co-invested together. Also to explain also some of the arguments that we said before, which is it really makes sense that for us to collaborate and invest on complementing angles, as well, even from the same country, on some of those companies. I think one space that we find it very interesting these days is biotech, biodata in general. I think there are many problems to solve there about how to extract the data, transform it, and also transform that into business decisions as well. I think that's an important thing that still has many room for improvement. And there is this company in Valencia that we invested called Kidim. Those guys, they basically are using AI to extract data from images, which they will make better the oncologist. So they objectivize the oncology decisions, which is an amazing mission with an amazing team and amazing founder. They have 2 different business lines. One business line, when you actually are selling to hospitals, those kind of products, I think it's very hard. It's a hard sell. So you have to try to get some capillarity on how you do it. And they managed to sign an agreement with one of the major hardware providers global, which is Philips. We have a very strong presence in Europe. And that's actually going to come with an embedded solution within the hardware product, which is going to give these guys tremendous capillarity by having the product installed within the hardware. But they're also selling to hospitals directly, which is great. Some of the products are regulated by the Agencia Europea del Medicamento. They also have, approved by the FDA in the US. So that actually direct sale to hospital is amazing. And on parallel, backing up the first argument I mentioned about biodata and biotech, in a way, they also help in pharma companies and research companies to accelerate clinical trials, which is a very expensive and painful process. And they're doing that by, once again, complementing data coming from images. So actually, I'm very excited about these guys because they are kind of creating a new category with certainly a global impact. So that would be the example I would like to mention.
Thank you. And from the Next Tech Fund?
Yeah, so the Next Tech Fund, as it was launched in 2022, it has not elapsed enough time to see a success story or success case. But yeah, we'd like to highlight a couple of the latest investment that has gone through the investment committee. One of them is Supel. Supel is a space tech company. They are developing a satellite constellation just to get, process, and commercialize image data from the Earth. And the other one is in Brain, which is a biotech. They are developing through very computer interfaces a platform to decode neural networks and to be able to make filming of disease easy. So I would like to highlight those 2 investments because at the end, those are deep tech companies. They need a lot of finance in the very early stages. From the time they start the company to the time they start getting revenues. So we are very happy to try to help them to complete their financing rounds, and I think that has to be a little bit the scope of our fund of Deeptech.
Thank you. So, well, unfortunately, this session is now coming to an end. But before we end, I would like to pose just one last question to our panelists. So starting by Alberto, in one sentence, what message would you like to give to the deep tech ecosystem in Spain?
Go, go for it. We are very eager investors to hear your proposals and ideas. I think there is hunger from the VC community to invest in deep tech.
Thank you. Borja?
Yeah, I mean, I think things are moving so quickly, and I think there is a lot of enabling technology already there, which will accelerate a lot of the times of development for companies to compete. So we are super excited about the things that we have seen. 2022 and 2023 has been a bit weird for us because of the deal flow has not been very determined, I would say. But we certainly seen a trend in 2024 on a little bit more activity towards the funnel, the bottom of the funnel in a way. So go for it, and we are super eager about what the things that we've seen in the ecosystem, and yeah.
Yeah, time is now. I would say that. Yeah, when we talk about innovation, we are always going late. So yeah, you have a good project. Now resources are higher than ever. So yeah, it's time to invest in technology, and it's time to develop technological and deep tech companies.
So we know that for all these young entrepreneurs here, now go for it. It's the time to invest and to develop deep tech. So, well, this session has come to an end. Thank you very much. Thank you to our panelists, Alberto, Borja, and Carlos, for sharing your valuable time and knowledge with us. And we hope this session has been as enriching for you as it has been for us. And, well, enjoy the last day of South Summit, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Cristina, Alberto, Borja.